वेलकम एवरीबॉडी टू एपिसोड नंबर 4 ऑफ द रियल हीरोज। आज मेरे साथ है प्राची। प्राची इज अ सीरियल एंटरप्रेन्योर, शी इज रनिंग हर सेकंड बिजनेस and she is also a mother of 2 daughters. Her first business, FitHo, was acquired by Practo. At that point of time, she was giving birth to her second daughter. I have built businesses myself and I know कि एक business बनाने में it is a full-time job. You have to manage your team, your investors, your customers, operations, everything. And it's a stressful thing to do. And I know my mother and I know many friends of mine who are recent mothers. And it's a full-time job for them to raise their kids, to look after their children, their education, their food, their comfort, their safety. How does a woman who is running her own business and also raising 2 daughters at the same point of time manage all of this? What are the learnings which other working mothers can derive from her? आइए आज इन्हीं बातों में चर्चा करेंगे प्राची से। वेलकम टू द शो प्राची, great to have you here. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Abhinav. It's great to be here.
So Prachi, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
So, I'm a small town girl. I come from a very small town in Uttarakhand, which is called Srinagar. Brought up there. Sent off to a boarding school at the age of 10. I have 3 siblings. I'm the middle child. And I've been out of my house since I was 10 years old. So I think the boarding school was the best thing that happened to me. It taught me to be independent. It taught me to be fearless. It taught me to be happy. It taught me to be surrounded by great people. So that has been like the most humbling, the foundation of my life. कि मेरी शुरुआत इससे हुई थी. लोग रोते हैं कि मुझे boarding school भेज दिया है. Like मेरी बड़ी बहन है, उसको boarding school बिल्कुल पसंद नहीं था. For me, I think that was the best decision my father ever made to send me to a boarding school. We are Baniyas. We are not Gadwalis, but my father's family has been living there for 3 generations. We are from a well-to-do family in Srinagar. My father owned a movie hall, so I've grown up watching movies.
Nice.
All kinds of Hindi movies.
Oh, awesome.
But while we came from a very known family in Srinagar, we were treated by my parents as very average individuals. We never got any privileges. Like हमारे पास हर समय गाड़ी और ड्राइवर नहीं होता था. So we are kind of a nuclear family. There was a joint family, but by the time मेरी बारी आई, I think the family had moved away to Rishikesh and Dehradun because Srinagar wasn't enough for families. मेरे पापा के 4 भाई और 1 बहन है. तो it wasn't enough for everyone to live in a small town and make a living. So, diversify करा, नई factories खोली. So, उसके लिए you had to go to the plains because पहाड़ों में ये सब काम नहीं हो सकता था. So, essentially when I was born, we were a nuclear family. It was my father, my mother, my sister and me.
Got it.
And again, मेरी बहन भी, when she turned 10, she was sent to a boarding school. So, for a long time, it was just me.
And after school, which colleges did you went to?
I went to, so it was a set pattern. Pattern was Delhi University. So, आपको one thing is that at the end of the day, my father is a small town guy. And for him to send his kids anywhere too far away from home is very uncomfortable for him.
Got it.
And Delhi is where my grandparents live. So Delhi became a very comfortable choice to send. And the only condition was, अगर तुम admission ला सकते हो, तो जा सकते.
So I'm assuming you did well in academics too.
No, I didn't. My sister did.
Okay.
And so I was a sports quota kid.
Acha, okay.
So the town that I belong to is a big university town. There's a Gadwal University there and now it's grown up. वहाँ पे engineering college भी है, medical college है. लेकिन हमारे ज़माने में college होता था, right? देहरादून से, यूपी से लोग वहाँ पे आए पढ़ने के लिए आते थे. And it was a done thing. तुम पढ़ाई नहीं करोगे, यहाँ पे college जाओगे. तो वो हमारा सबसे बड़ा fear था कि after going to a boarding school you can't come back because Srinagar is a very slow life. And जब 10 साल की उम्र से आपको बाहर भेज दिया है तो फिर आपकी कोई दोस्ती नहीं है तो किसके साथ आप कॉलेज जाओगे, राइट? ऑब्वियसली आपके स्कूल के फ्रेंड्स श्रीनगर कॉलेज करने के लिए नहीं आएंगे तो बचे आप. ही हैड आस्क्ड मी बिफोर आई स्टार्टेड माय एडमिशंस कि तुम्हें क्या कोर्स करना है. आई सेड साइकोलॉजी बिकॉज आई हैड टेकन अप आर्ट्स इन स्कूल and hostel was a done thing. So I got through everything and the only college that was giving me the course that I wanted was IP. So that's where I went. Not the IP University, IP College for Women.
Okay, got
In
it.
Delhi University, not campus. That's where I went.
And after college, did you start a job just after college?
No, so my parents were trying to get me married, and that's a joke in our families.
You were how
19,
old at that time? 19. Okay.
19, 20. He wanted
So
me
in
to
the
get
first,
married.
second year of college.
Third year of college, he had started like sending me for my matrimonial pictures and said, "Isko to life में कुछ करना नहीं है and इसकी शादी कर देंगे and all." And I was like, it's like my sister did her post graduation, उतना तो बनता है.
Correct,
You know?
correct.
So while you grew up in privileges, the privileges weren't for you, right?
You have to earn those.
You have to earn those privileges, and maybe that's the kind of person that I've become, that I don't take things for granted, and I'm like, मेहनत करनी है ना, कर लेंगे. So I went and did my postgrad from this Rai University. I did my master's
So just
in
after
communication.
undergrad, you got into postgrad.
Yeah, because I didn't want to get married, right? They were
Understood.
all
So
like,
that was
out.
the only
motivating
thing.
factor.
Got it.
इससे शादी नहीं कर सकते.
So I am assuming by 24 or 25 you would have done your postgrad.
Yeah, 20. And then I started working, and I started my job in a PR company called Perfect Relations, and I was in the medical arm of Perfect Relations.
So cut to your first startup. Like how did you kind of decide to start up on your own
Sure.
after doing few years at the job?
Now for me it wasn't कि मुझे अपना कुछ करना है. For me it was कि कुछ meaningful करना है. चाहे मैं किसी कंपनी के साथ काम करूं, चाहे मैं
खुद के लिए
कुछ करूं. And I've been a sports person all my life, right? And cut to I meet my husband. My husband was also, funnily, for all the battle, was an arranged marriage, right? And then we met, and we got married, and so then we decided, let's start something of our own, and we were like, let's do it.
So interestingly, your first startup was with your husband.
Yes. When I married him, it wasn't majburi mein.
It was out of choice.
I stood my ground and says, I'm happier not being married. And then I meet this guy, and what I had learned in life, more than what is it that I want, is what is it that I don't want. These are non-negotiable. And he had 90% of those non-negotiable terms.
So like what were these? Can you give examples of these non-negotiable terms when you were looking for your partner?
Like respect.
Mutual respect.
Mutual respect. I couldn't deal with a chauvinist. And
Understood.
We are living in that society, let's be honest. He's very considerate, down to earth, right? I got married in 2007.
2007.
Yeah. Like December, this is my anniversary month.
Happy anniversary.
Thanks.
And you started the company in which year?
2012.
2012.
Yeah. We seeded it in 2010, like when we started talking about it.
When did you start your family planning?
2012 is
Okay.
when I had my first child. So see, we've been already married for some time, and just then, anyways, we had started seeding because we were grappling with a lot of ideas before we came to the idea of FitHo, right?
So the first 5 years, you both are working.
Yeah, towards creating enough pool so that we can start a company. Because we were also pre your whole investment era.
I'm sure, yeah. 2012,
Yeah.
it was just starting. Yeah,
so first you're grappling with कि तुम कुछ नया कर रहे हो जो company family ने नहीं करा है. Both of us come from a business class family. And secondly, you're in the startup space कि ये हो क्या रहा है.
Correct.
Right? Correct. And so पहले तुम अपने आप को convince कर रहे हो because you're treading a path that none of your friends have treaded. And secondly, then you have to take care of your family because they're like, तुम क्या कर रहे हो, and all of that. And I always knew I was going to have children. So it was just a matter of this thing ki, before you get older and your body is not with you, you have to have children. And I think I had my first child at the brink of 30.
Understood. This is your first daughter.
My first daughter.
And interestingly, in the same year, you start the company.
Yeah.
The actual operations of the company.
Yeah, and so I actually go back to work within a month of having my first born.
Oh, within the first month.
Within the first month, I was back at work.
How were you actually managing that time? Because what I have seen is that the first few months, especially the first 6 months, it's a hugely demanding thing on side of the mother.
Of course it is. It is.
So how were you
sure.
managing?
At that point in time, maybe I wasn't overthinking. I wasn't thinking ki bacha ho gaya, ab kya kare? See, it was my choice to have a child. It was my choice to take the family forward. So when you make the decision, it's like getting married to throw. It was my decision. He might disagree, but it was my decision to get married. So when you see, I wasn't okay to get married at 19, but I was okay to get married at 26. So when you make decisions, no matter what they are, you suddenly feel more responsible for everything that comes with it. So till the time I am ready, अगर मुझे ही करना है तो फिर मैं अपनी conditions पे करूँ. That's why when I had a child, I had it at my terms. So people, you know, the minute you get married, people are like बच्चा का. So my husband had the funniest answer, but that's a story of another time. And you know, these are the discussions and very big discussions. We always speak with each other over a table. He and I have a very open communication, whether it's serious, it's funny, it's, you know, so it really helps, because a lot of times you're just thinking of yourself as an individual and not as a team, and you forget that you can lean in, and when you have these conversations, that kind of helps. So that company we started, it was just 2 of us, then we got in 2 more people, and then it grew to about 10 people, including us, in 2015. So what had happened was that, and we were your pre-app time,
web,
right?
mostly
web, and we were also in that phase where Flipkart was just building up in this country. So services, the only service that sold online were your tickets, right? And products were like, people was just getting over India Times. Flipkart came in and they were doing these book deliveries, and you know, the experience was fabulous, and people was just still getting comfortable with transacting online, and we launched a completely online service. And much like any online service that back in the day, you had to obviously have some bread and butter, which is your offline, because you need a customer acquisition.
So what was the company exactly doing? Like what?
So we were selling a weight loss service. So so we were a new age weight loss service where we didn't say कि आप सवेरे hot water and lemon लो तो आप पतले हो जाओगे, ये सब नहीं था. What we were trying to do is that if you ate right, you ate quality over quantity, weight loss is incidental. Right?
Understood.
And you did some physical activity depending on your fitness level. कि आपको कोई कह नहीं रहा है कि आप बड़े से weights कर लें. Whatever you're comfortable, but you must move. And if you're eating well and you're exercising, your body will get tired, will get sleep, and
absolutely
weight loss is just incidental.
Yeah, that's a byproduct.
That's a byproduct. People often at that point in time, you had these dietitians that would put you on these low carb diets and all of that. We were trying to do away. So which is now become an accepting, like a norm, but back in the day, we were a little ahead of our time.
After 2015, what happened?
So then, you know, we went out in the market to raise money, because we needed to build an app and put it out there and all. And then we met one of the investors, and he says, oh, you know, Practo is trying to get into preventive health space. Why don't the 2 of you talk? And we met them. And in 3 weeks, we had agreed to get acquired by Practo and move bag and baggage.
And Practo at that point of time, how big was it?
I think that raised over 100 million by then.
Understood.
And they were a big team. And I feel that there's always a reason why things happen to you. And if you're open to adventure, it takes you to bigger and better things. And Practo was doing exactly what we wanted to do, is make people healthier one day at a time. But they had a larger vision, larger team.
Yeah. And then after that, what did you do?
So then my husband continued to be in the healthcare space, while I decided that healthcare is not the space that I want to be in for multiple reasons. I did spend about 6 months trying to pursue this healthcare space. I wanted to get into women's healthcare space, and I was thinking ki PCOD hoga, women's menopause hoga. So I went and I did a lot of market research, met hundreds of women, lots of gynecologists, but there was nothing disruptive that I was bringing to the table. Like I mean, a lot of times हम American market को देखते हैं और देखते हैं कि वहाँ पे क्या काम कर रहा है, and then you kind of replicate it. But ये healthcare market और एक औरत को बोलना कि तुम्हें ये करना चाहिए अपनी health के साथ is it's a very difficult task, in which I saw in the days of FitHo, right? Like लोगों को बोलो sugar free मिठाई खा लो, वो 1 kg का खरीद लेगा. उससे कह दो कि बस एक इतना से खा लो, वो कहेगा अरे मेरी जिंदगी बर्बाद हो रही है. So I knew
Yeah.
that the next business that I wanted to be in is, and of course I wanted flexibility because by now I have 2 children.
When did you have your second child?
I had my second child in 2017.
With
And when I
Practo,
was at
yeah.
Practo. I got my 6 months of maternity leave at that point
Oh,
in time.
okay.
And I'm really grateful to Practo for that. And I met the bestest people at Practo. What a team.
That's
you know?
great to hear.
Yeah, what a team. Like some of the most amazing people. And like not just people at work, but just human beings. Solid.
So when did you start your current company?
I started this is a COVID baby. I started my company in 2020. So my company is called Poppy & Co. So coming back to that one bit that I spent about 6 months trying to figure out ki women's health space mein jate hain, nahi jate hain. And then I was like, okay, rain check. Let's figure out थोड़ा सा horizon broaden करते हैं. I know women. Let's keep it that. Let's see कि इसमें क्या categories है. So I wanted to be in a business where the behavior existed. What we were trying to do in FitHo,
Change the behavior.
is build the behavior while you're building the business. So there are 2 uphill tasks that you're doing, right? So I wanted to park that aside. I wanted to go into a category where the behavior existed. So while I was going through a lot of कि ये कर सकते हैं, वो कर सकते हैं, ये कर सकते हैं, and there were a couple of things. It should be scalable. It should have margins. All of that should be there. These 3 things were extremely critical for me to start a business. And for me, I mean, and that's one thing a boarding schoolers taught me कि try करते हैं ना. Fundamentals तो हैं, धंधा करना आता है, कंपनी बनाना आता है. I mean, क्या होगा? I mean, थोड़ा सा लॉजिक भी है क्योंकि यहाँ से यहाँ तक आए तो how wrong can you go? And then I chance upon the fashion. How much ever cluttered it might be, colors, patterns, prints, they genuinely give me joy. You know, I feel happy when I'm creating. So that's when I found this category, and I said, okay, fine. Bridal भी हो रहा है, शादी का भी हो रहा है. Maybe I can own this category called shirts. And
Shirts for
women.
Okay.
Right? And similar to what I'm wearing right now. It's an easy shirt.
So this is your own company?
This is my own company. I genuinely enjoy wearing what I make because I'm making for women like me. You know, it's wearable. The color is bright. You don't have to do anything. Just wear it and step out. It looks like कि तुमने बहुत करा है, लेकिन technically आप 5 मिनट में तैयार हुए हो. And that's something that is very important for a mother, a mother who's a working professional, right? You don't have the luxury to spend so much time in getting ready and looking like you're in control. So I again spent some time in developing the fit because I wanted a business that was scalable. I didn't want to get into customization. It's a shirt company that comes in different prints, and I have about 8 sizes, and it fits. So when I developed the prototype, I sized it against, like for example, a small. I went to about 10 women who wear a small size because there are so many body types. And then come up with a fit that would be a size agnostic कि आप apple shape हो, pear shape हो, लेकिन आपको ये अच्छे से fit करेगी. While running FitHo, मेरी एक insight थी कि जिस size का भी बंदा हो, especially women, we women feel fat 26 days of a month. हाँ, तो क्या एक कपड़ा
Why only 26?
कुछ दिन होते हैं ना जो आपको लगता है कि हाँ आज मैं पतली लग रही हूँ, होता है.
Majority of the time ऐसा लगता है.
More than majority आपको लगता है आज मोटी लग रही हूँ and all of that. So for me, this is actually an extension of my weight loss journey. Is empowering women to feel better. Like what is weight loss essentially? Is just having a little bit more control over yourself. So this company is more about that is giving women that piece of clothing where it doesn't make them feel awkward. It makes them feel comfortable. It makes them look good. Right? And it can be just simple as a print. And
so you are the founder and the CEO of this company.
Yeah, I'm the founder, CEO, creative director at this point in time.
Awesome. You are building a second business.
I'm building my
You built your first business, which was acquired by a big company. During this journey, you had 2 children.
Yes.
Let's now come to the current situation. Would love to understand a little bit about, you are running a business on a day-to-day basis.
Yes.
You have 2 kids to take care of. How does your typical day look like from morning till night?
So our days, we are early risers. our day starts because हमारे बच्चे स्कूल इतनी जल्दी जाते हैं, वो 6:45 उनकी बस आती है, तो the madness starts सुबह 6 बजे हो जाती है, 2 बच्चों को तैयार करना होता है. मेरी बड़ी वाली जिसका नाम नैनिका है वो 11 साल की है, और मेरी छोटी वाली जिसका नाम नंदिका है वो जनवरी में 7 साल की होने वाली है. 2 बच्चे होते हैं, दोनों की पर्सनालिटीज़ अलग होती हैं, तो एक बच्चा जल्दी उठ जाता है, एक बच्चा देर से उठता है, और दोनों के बीच में अंडरस्टैंडिंग है कि तो वो जो बाथरूम शेयरिंग का लड़ाई होती है वो भी नहीं होती है, क्योंकि एक पहले ऑटोमेटिकली उठ जाता है तो वो पहले तैयार हो जाता है, फिर दूसरा तैयार होता है. फिर ऑफ कोर्स डेली कुछ ना कुछ मेल्टडाउन होते हैं, कुछ ना कुछ, ये नहीं है, वो नहीं है, ये भूल गया, वो भूल गया, ये सब होता है. सो देन आई वर्क आउट because I may be naturally gifted for 2 reasons, because I think मैंने अपना पूरा बचपन खेलने में गुजारा है, and पहाड़ी जीन्स हैं. My father is also fit and I'm not a foodie. But people don't realize कि आपको exercise केवल weight loss के लिए नहीं चाहिए, आपको mental energy के लिए भी चाहिए. That was also the reason हमने FitHo start करा था. If you are mindful about everything, then you will have more space in your mind.
So you do a workout.
So I work out, and मेरा workout 1.5 घंटे का ये नहीं है. मेरा workout है, I mean, it's essentially a 20-minute workout.
Yeah, but if you do it daily, it's more than
Yeah,
enough.
it's because sports also teaches you to show up.
Yeah,
कि
yeah.
अगर
Consistency is more important.
It's very important.
Yeah.
So you show up, you do that, then you come. I mean, it's not that कि उनको जैसे ही छोड़ा आप जिम में चले गए. You go, you come back, you unwind. It's been a stressful morning. Like 4 बार रोए हैं, अलग अलग चीज़ों पे रोए हैं. 7:30, 7:45, you go for an exercise.
So do you have some support in the morning to prepare their meals and all?
They don't take a meal, but I do. I do have a cook.
Okay.
At
Who comes
home in the morning and cooks
ठीक.
my lunch and my husband's lunch and this thing. So
And
it's
your
just 4 of
breakfast?
us in the
Breakfast.
See, breakfast is standard. My husband has a very standard breakfast, so he eats a cold breakfast, and
Acha.
I eat eggs. So
Very simple to make.
I mean, it's essentially only lunch that
Yeah.
needs to be made. Our breakfast is very simple.
So then you work out of office?
Yeah,
or you
so
work out of home?
I have an office in my house. I have a
Okay.
mezzanine where my office is. So
Achha.
the whole house is, my husband leaves for
So
work
is
at
this
9:50.
is this just because of a stage of the business right now, or is this
It
a
is.
choice which you have taken proactively to work
It is
from?
a stage of my
It's the stage of the
business. It
business,
is a
right?
stage of my
But you believe
business.
in working from office.
I can't work from home.
Understood.
It's not fundamentally possible to work
Got
from
it.
home.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm lucky that my house is made in such a way that I have a space that's disconnected from the household.
Oh, okay.
So I can work from there. And plus, I work with a lot of manufacturing and sourcing. So वो तो वैसे भी घर पे नहीं हो सकती है.
Correct,
And that
correct.
it gets done out. So right now it's cost cutting because I want to, because my
Yeah,
costs
it's the
are
stage of the business,
yeah,
which I
stage of the
understand.
business where my majority of my money goes into manufacturing and sourcing and marketing, that I want to cut my costs off.
So typically, what time do you start?
I start my work at around 9ish.
9ish.
Yeah.
And then when do the kids come
The
back?
kids come back home around 3:30, but I kind of slow down at around 3 o'clock because I also need like some downtime before they come in, because they always come in with a meltdown and ये ठीक नहीं है, मुझे ये चाहिए, मुझे वो चाहिए, and ये नहीं हुआ. Basically वो भूखे होते हैं, और जब वो भूखे होते हैं तो उनका काम नहीं करता है. So the minute they come in, then I fix them a snack and I talk about लाइफ में क्या हो रहा है, क्या चाहिए, एंड होमवर्क है नहीं है. सो देन द नेक्स्ट 1.5 hours आर स्पेंट इन उन्हीं के आजू बाजू इधर उधर ये सब. एंड देन 5ish 4:35 इज द टीवी टाइम. तो फिर वो 5 बजे 5 से 5:45 टीवी देखते हैं. तो देन व्हाट आई डू इज देन आई रिट्रीट इन माय ऑफिस, एंड फिर मेरा नेक्स्ट स्लॉट, मेरी जो मीटिंग्स मॉर्निंग में नहीं हो पाती हैं वो मैं इधर 5 o'clock के आसपास करती हूँ. मेरी मार्केटिंग की मीटिंग की कैचअप, अच्छा ये होना है, ये mornings are usually for my manufacturing because those are physical meetings. So anything to be done outside, I schedule it in the first half of the day so that I'm back by 2:33
So you move, you go outside, do the meeting, and come back by 2:33
yeah,
o'clock.
yeah.
Understood. Understood.
meet the vendors, meet whatever, photo shoots हो गई, ये सब हो
So
गया.
when do you end your work day?
So I end my work day at 7ish.
7ish.
Right, because then 7ish, and then sometimes there would be work at like, let's say, because बच्चे हम जल्दी सुला देते हैं 8, and that's the father's responsibility, no matter, unless he's got a meeting that runs late. He's typically home by 8:10. And it's his job, because that's his 15-20 minutes with the children, to catch up with what happened in his day, what happened in their day, if they want to complain about their mother, and how
This is an interesting point, because you use the term that it is his job.
Yeah.
So is there a way in which you have divided the responsibilities
No.
between
No.
Or
I don't work like that. So I feel that, see, we all understand that we are going through a phase, and sometimes you have to prioritize. अगर एक ही बंदे के पास time नहीं है, तो समझ में आता है. अब I don't want to fight it, and I believe that we are a team, and our goal is to take the family forward. There are times when I take the family forward. There are times when he's taking the family forward. My way of taking the family might not only be in terms of money, but it also be in a lot of way in taking my children forward, making sure they are secure, they are reaching their potential and being able to do what they want to do. The reason why I call it his job is because I feel that if I don't call him in the daily routine, he will only have FaceTime with his kids at the end, and I'm not asking for anything that's outside of his comfort zone, because I am fortunate he is the way he is, that even when he comes home after a terrible day or a great day, at 8:15 he has left his baggage at work, and he comes and he reads the kids the stories. And I because by now I've run out of patience to engage with them.
Understood.
Right? So the only thing I'll be like, lights off karo, so jao. He will be a lot more indulgent, because he has not had that 2 hours of 3 hours of FaceTime with them as I have had. So I've run out of patience, right? So that's his time. So for if I don't push him to do this, then they will have no, and you have to see, understand, आजकल के बच्चे थोड़े से different हैं. If you don't show them what's important, they will not treat it as important. So they will just take their father for granted. हाँ पापा है, अच्छा पापा नहीं है, अच्छा. So as a mother, that's also my responsibility to make sure, like हमारे ज़माने में मम्मी तो पापा का नाम इसलिए यूज़ करती थी, और ये नहीं करोगे तो पापा को बता दूंगी. I don't want to be that mother. Right? I want to be like, if papa is not there, you have to show that much respect. Like, he's working hard now. I mean, no matter how bad a day he's had, Sava Art, he's with you. And he's talking to you, and he's asking you कि तुम्हारा दिन कैसा था. Right? So, for me, that's really important. And then we as a family have also created small rituals. Like जैसे weekend में Sunday breakfast was Dhruv cooking with the girls.
So that's a ritual.
हाँ. अब वो change हो गया है. Now my older daughter cooks for the whole family, but that's the ritual it started with. With Dhruv, and the girls will make breakfast for everyone
On a Sunday.
Yeah, so then that's their collaboration with him, that we do something fun with Papa.
How has been the emotional and the mental support from your extended circle? Now that would include your friends, your siblings, your in-laws, your other family members.
It's
So
been,
generally, what has been that when it comes to you as a working mother?
actually, I have been very, very fortunate. I went to a great school where I built some great relationships. It's a fundamental need for a human being to have secure social connections, and in which I have been super lucky, and I have had like great friends and my siblings and my family who've been there to like kind of support, push me, and tell me it's okay, ये खराब हो गया, कोई बात नहीं, सबसे होता है. So to feel that you're not the only person who's doing it. कल सुबेरे सूरज फिर से निकलेगा, टेंशन की बात नहीं है, फिर से स्टार्ट करेंगे. At the most what you've lost is a day. You're fine, you're healthy, everyone is fine. That's what matters, and that's about it. So, and because I have been fortunate enough to be surrounded by such amazing people, when random and insecure people and competitive people have kind of come, I have I have understood the difference between the two, and I have learned to keep my distance from them. Right, and then I'm an extremely social person.
That has never been a huge cause of concern.
No, you have worked on it, but it has strengthened me.
Okay.
And of course there have been times when things have not been great, but because I've seen good times, that has sort of helped me go through the bad times and say that good times will come.
In the current support system, do you have you have a cook which who comes?
But I don't have help on my children.
Don't have a help on.
So I took away all the help on my children during COVID. I didn't see COVID coming. It just so happened that I was just going through a bout of bad help coming at my doorstep, and मुझे फिर भी सारा काम करना पड़ता था, तो मैं सोची थी कि मैं इतने पैसे क्यों वेस्ट कर रही हूँ, इससे अच्छा मैं कर लेती हूँ. So then what helped me?
So this was basically nanny.
Yeah, mostly nanny.
Understood.
Right?
But cooks are there.
Cooks, yeah, but then during COVID we didn't have. So I didn't know how to. So my issue was that I didn't know how to cook before COVID.
Then you learned how to cook.
The choice ही नहीं थी ना, घर में 4 लोग थे, and at that point in time Dhruv was starting his business, so he was on calls the whole day, and so the only thing that he would have time for was to wash the dishes. Right? So and then fortunate, thanks to social media, you knew how to cook one pot meals की उसमें, and we were a different family. हम हेल्दी ज़्यादा खाना खाते हैं, तो हमारे टेबल पे 2 तरह की सब्जियां होनी चाहिए, प्रोटीन होना चाहिए, कार्ब्स ऐसे. सो हम बस एक रोटी से और उससे नहीं होता है हमारा. हम वी डोंट इवन ईट आउट सो मच, वी डोंट इवन ऑर्डर इन सो मच. तो हमारा लाइफस्टाइल थोड़ा सा डिफरेंट है. तो फिर जब अगर इतना हेल्दी, हम मसाले का, तेल का इतना खाना नहीं खाते हैं, लेकिन जब ऐसा खाना बनाना होता है, इट्स ईजियर बिकॉज you can see these recipes and make it, and so that's where I learned how to cook.
What is your take on the value system of your family? How important are values to you, and how do you make sure that those values are imbibed to your kids as well?
I feel value is the blueprint of our family, to be honest. अगर हमें मालूम ही नहीं है हम कौन हैं, तो हम आगे कैसे बढ़ सकते हैं? बिकॉज व्हाट इज़ राइट एंड रॉन्ग इज़ बेसिकली जो आपकी समझ है, लेकिन आपको अगर मालूम ही नहीं आपकी क्या समझ है, आप कैसे डिसाइड करोगे कि वो आपके लिए सही है या गलत है? सो एज अ फैमिली, funnily, long time ago, maybe because it's a very entrepreneur thing, I don't know what it is, but we actually sat down and we chalked out the values for a family. That as a family, these are the things that we optimize.
So just like we write in a company, that what are the values of a company?
Because for us, for example, creativity is one of our core values. In creativity, we don't only mean art, but building a business, building anything, doing something that's not already there and pushing yourself to build it is creativity. And we also, for our children, we've actually communicated this and broken it down in their language. Kindness as a family is also another value for us. Whatever life takes us through, whether money comes in, whether money doesn't come in, whether my startup is valued at whatever and we've raised whatever, for us, our family is still the same what it used to be. So for that, we really work towards staying kind, staying grounded, staying humble. So, and we speak to our children and make them aware that there's something to be proud of, but when that proud turns into arrogance is where we disconnect, right? So, yeah.
You also mentioned that there is an important role of how you inculcate the values towards the father.
Yeah.
In your kids. So can you maybe deep dive a little bit on that?
Yeah. So in our household, father ka, at least mere ghar mein, his job was a very quiet and a very passive. He would do a whole lot, but passively. Day to day hustle to maa hi karti thi na. And she obviously had more face time with you. At least my mother. But and papa का नाम तभी यूज होता था जब तुम कुछ गलत काम कर लोगे. And and when you would meet Papa won't care. He's like, huh, मेरा time क्यों waste कर रहे हो? तो छोटी सी बात types है, right? So that was one thing. And then the second thing is, I feel these days kids, we as parents, and it happens in every generation, you're confused about parenting. जो आपके माँ बाप ने करा वो ठीक है, या जो आपके दोस्त कर रहे हैं वो ठीक है, या मुझे कुछ और करना चाहिए. I am a traditionalist, so मैं कुछ चीज़ें अपने माँ बाप जैसा हमें मिला था, I take it from there. कुछ किताबें पढ़ के, कुछ from my siblings and whatever. His FaceTime with the children is very limited, right? So I was like, Papa is not like a figure to be feared of. Like day to day में you need to understand कि तुम क्या सही कर रहे हो, तुम क्या गलत कर रहे हो. पापा तुम्हें नहीं आके डांटेंगे, कोई तुम्हें ऐसे आके नहीं डांटेगा. From this came the whole ritual of how do we as a family incorporate more quality FaceTime with our children. So one such ritual is that my husband had to start his day an hour earlier just to have half an hour, 40 minutes of FaceTime with his children in the morning. Because they leave for school so early. And that was his doing. So to get a person who has worked 14 hours to wake up so early and start his day so early, it's just so that he can spend his quality time. And it's not something that हमने ये लिखा था कि नहीं ये ड्यूटीज है, तुम्हें ऐसा करना है. It just comes from within. When you feel कि तुम एक टीम हो and you feel कि अरे maybe I'm not giving enough, you automatically chip in. बच्चों के स्कूल में कुछ परफॉर्मेंस होती है, कुछ होता है, और इनके स्कूल में बहुत होता है, और इनका स्कूल 1 घंटा दूर है. Now I have a lot more flexibility than my husband, right? Now he has a team of 900 people. I don't have that kind of team, right? So he can't work his time around as much as I can, right? I can work on Saturdays and Sundays. And which I do, like I have my exhibitions and stuff on Saturdays, so which my husband's at home while he's also working, because as an entrepreneur you don't. And there was time when I just couldn't travel for the performance, and it's a very random performance, right? इतना भी नहीं है कि कुछ बड़ा है, like 5 dialogue थे, but for a child it's like मैं बहुत कर रहा हूँ, right? So Dhruv said, I'll go. 3 घंटे है ना, so what I'll do is I'll shift everything and I'll work a little late, or I'll start my day a little early, but I will go since you can't go. So it comes from within, because the father also feels कि बच्चे कहेंगे अच्छा पापा आए नहीं आए कोई बात नहीं, मम्मी नहीं आ रही है, रोना शुरू हो जाता है. So then the father automatically starts feeling that they should also, like for example, older one has an Olympiad coming in, and during the day, because I have that 1.5 hours of their study time in the evening when I take a break, that I can sit and work with her, and I tell her. So now at 8 o'clock, when he comes for half an hour, he'll sit with her on that Olympiad, and he'll be like, let's work on it. So now that has become a ritual, that doing math with Papa has become a ritual, that when I say, baby, let's come and sit, na abhi time hai, baith jate hain, now this is nahi, I can only sit with Papa. So I like it. So you have to also somewhere do things that the kids want you, right? And so you see it, like when I tell them, when I know Dhruv is coming late, and I'll be like, okay, let's go to bed, they'll ask, when is Papa coming? So I will read 3 lines and I'll be like, give a side huggy and says, acha main ja rahi hu, right? Bahut ho gaya hai. Like Dhruv will be with them till the time they have like.
So you have very consciously.
Yeah.
This is an important thing for you, that
and they're very small things.
Yeah.
But then they have, in the mind of the children, have become very important.
How important is it for working parents, and especially a working mother, to continuously cultivate a good circle of friends around you, a good circle of, and these friends can be siblings, these can be friends in the same city or in the same neighborhood? Like, are these an important,
very important
asset?
As human beings, we are social beings. We all want that connection. We all want that adult conversation, and not only with your spouse, you also want, with your other friends, like har samay. And if you don't have the right people, your life can just be very empty and very consumption oriented, right? Then you're not looking at, ki what value is it that you're creating. It can be extremely empty, and I've been through all those phases. I do have a lot of my classmates, but everyone's in that phase of kids and growing up and they're far away, so to make that time becomes damn difficult unless you are like living close by.
Close
So
by,
you have to build that network कि कोई होना चाहिए कि अगर सुबेरे जॉग के लिए ही मिल जाए. It's so therapeutic
Yeah,
and we
yeah.
underestimate the value
Yeah,
of it.
yeah.
It's a game changer. I think that's something that every woman should consciously really
Cultivate,
work
yeah.
hard, because that's a game changer. When I didn't have that, everything was going bad. And not that stuff doesn't go bad, but you know, at least it doesn't feel that bad. You feel ki
You
ye
have
to
some
hai,
mental,
something kuch to hai,
kind of a-
psychologically kuch to hai.
I also want to touch upon another point about aspirations for your kids, because when I remember my childhood, my parents used to tell me ki focus on studies, because that is also an important aspect of improving your uh, economic situation and every other kind of thing in life, coming from a very middle class background. But that was one part of aspiration, only one part of aspiration. There were other aspirations also, obviously, that you will have a family and all those things. As a parent today, how do you think about aspirations for your kids? And then is there a plan which you have created so that there is a higher probability of those aspirations? So yeah, if you can.
I feel that we as adults make choices, especially when it comes to our children, based on what we didn't have as when we were kids ourselves, right? I didn't do well academically. I felt that if I had better guidance, I would be in a different place, right? Like, for example, even a basic choice of going to going to IP instead of Stephens, when I got through Stephens just because they didn't give me the hostel and they gave me history honors instead of psychology honors. Like, if I was a parent, I would have been like, just take history honors, just like, because the college matters, right? Just those basic things. And everyone is obviously, I mean, I'm not saying my father did wrong, but I'm just saying he's solving from his point of view, right? But for my children, I definitely have a plan, right? And of course, my husband keeps like slapping me and saying, what's wrong with you? And they're just this young. So it is a plan. Like, academics is at the forefront, and they have to excel at it. There is no choice, right?
It's like
They have to.
it is one of the things which you discuss with
Yes,
them.
very openly.
But I also hear a counterpoint where, let children decide
Of
what
course,
they
which
want
they
to.
are deciding.
Okay.
Right? I'm just pushing them. As parents, my job as a parent is, besides discipline, is giving you access.
Yeah.
But I can only give you access. अगर तुम उसका कुछ नहीं कर पाओगे तो तुम क्या करोगे?
So you are saying that your job is discipline plus access to options, but they can choose which option they want to choose.
Yeah, of course.
Whether they want to go
I
into.
can't get them to get them into an IIT, na?
Yeah. So
I can
if they
work.
want to do maybe an engineering versus medicine versus commerce versus arts versus tech versus anything, sports, music, whatever.
I can't get them into any top college. Only they can get in, but they have to be motivated enough. I'm just telling you, these are your options, and your option should also always be the best. Don't settle कि हाँ कर लेंगे वो है क्यों?
If a kid who is of course your kids are still young, but somebody who is maybe 21, 22, and he or she says that what, I have decided not to invest too much in academics and I want to do business directly,
Why not?
that is fine, right?
Yeah, to each their own. Absolutely.
To each their own.
You also have to see what your kid's potential is. Like,
So wherever you are seeing the spark, you kind of ignite
like, I
it
discourage.
further.
I know they're average singers. Now one of them wants to be a singer. Now I can't be like, nahi beta. I've worked in the music industry. I know how hard it is, and it is, and more than physically hard, it's also emotionally hard.
So pragmatic optimism.
You have to be, and so I tell them, I said, you always have a hobby. No one is taking that away, but don't look at it as your bread and butter.
And maybe these discussions will become more intense as they grow older. Right now,
but you
just,
have to have the
they have to have the
conversation, right? You can't suddenly throw them when they've already made up their mind.
Understood. Prachi, just to wrap up the discussion, are there any points of advice, pointed advice, which you would want to, or recommendations or suggestions or prescription to all the working mothers out there?
I think there should be a couple of things. One thing is that, it's very easy for us to get overwhelmed. right? We are doing a whole lot. We are doing more than what an average guy probably out there is doing. And a lot of these things are mindless things, right? Like, they just really slow you down. Try to break it and not try to accomplish everything. It's like a big bite of a burger versus a small bite of a burger. It's easier to chew and it's as satisfying, maybe more satisfying than the bigger bite. You have to consciously build being secure in who you are, where you come from, who you have married, what your circumstances in life are. And nobody, I agree, I'm sure there are a lot of people who have it easy, but how do you know? You don't know their life. Everyone is fighting a battle. It's a fact. So don't झूठी तसल्ली नहीं देने की ज़रूरत है. You have to build a deeper this thing. You have to be happy. You have to learn to be happy and say that you were dealt this card, fine. But what you can change is what you can make the most of it. And the competition is not inside. The competition is outside. You are not competing with your members of your family. You're not competing with your husband. You're not competing with your children. You're not competing with actually anyone. You're only competing with things that will make you better. Competition is positive. It's not negative. I said security. I said competition. I said, breaking the tasks and not getting overwhelmed. You don't get everything all the time. And, there's a time and place for everything. जब होना होता है ना वो होता है. अगर नहीं होता है, there is a reason for it. Genuinely. And अगर नहीं भी होता है ना, कोई बात नहीं. कुछ और आ जाता है. So this whole leading a life from the place of regret won't make you stronger. So we have to do things that make us stronger, not things that weaken us.
Awesome. I think that was a great discussion. We touched upon the very minute nuances of managing your own business, a company, as well as managing your own household. And I think you have definitely shared some very strong pointers which all the working mothers who are out there would definitely find helpful. I really want to thank you, Prachi, again for your time. You came all the way here.
Thank you so much for having me over.
No, it was such a pleasure and an honor to have you.
No.
And thanks again for your time. And I am very, very, very sure that this discussion will help a lot of other people.
I hope so.
So thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.